When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Shanghai Masters semi-final, and welcome back to the session number 2, as now we are going to have to find out on who's going to be the winner and who's going to be the first finalist of the invitational tournament here at the Shanghai Masters. Is he going to be the world number 1 of Watchalong, or is he going to be a bit of a different story, and is Yize going to be very much the man to beat ahead of the clashing between Karen Wilson and Zhao Xingtong tomorrow? That one's going to be a classic as well. But let's quickly remind you on what happened in the morning or the afternoon session, depends on if you're watching in Asia, Europe, or anywhere in the world. And yeah, of course, you had Yize with a very positive start, as he's done in every single one of his matches. You know, he had a 2-0 lead against Si Jiaowei, against Sean Murphy, and now against Watchalong as well. Didn't really work out as well as it was in either of those 2 other matches, but because he was able to win 6-2 against Si Jiaowei. But a very similar result to the one that he had against Murphy, I would say, because there was a 5-4 scoreline against Murphy that he was trailing. And, there wasn't a 5-3 scoreline. There was here because Trump was able to win 4 frames on the bounce and turn that 2-0 advantage for Yize into a 4-2 lead for himself. Whether that was going to be very much the turning point or not, doesn't seem like that's the way it worked out, because Yize was able to stay in there, close the gap down to 4-3, then Trump once again extended it to 5-3 until that final frame. Very dramatic, very close, full of chances, but in the end it was Trump that failed to pot that yellow into the yellow pocket whilst trying to force that cue to go around the side cushion and onto the yellow again, because that was the final colour that he was trying to pot before the 6-colour clearance. Didn't work out. He got perfectly on the imaginary yellow, but he missed out on the yellow that he was playing. Put it over the middle, put it over the corner pocket. Yize was able to make a 6-colour clearance and finish off with a lovely little break of 27 points for himself. And on the overview, I think Trump played marginally better, but he was marginally ahead there. I don't think he deserved a 6-3. You could say if he pots that yellow, maybe, but, it's fine margin in snooker, and he could never have been 2 frame of an advantage for either one. It was either 3 or 1, and I think 1 probably represents the situation quite well. And what he also does is, of course, leaves a chance for Yize to try and come back, but ultimately, of course, Trump is still going to have the minor advantage of that frame that he has, and Yize doesn't, of course. But when we talk about the history in between the players, Trump has managed to beat Yize beforehand, but it's been a while since he's done so, so I think it's going to be very much a meaningful match altogether there for different sorts of reasons, because I think you've got the world champion of 2026 against the world champion of 2019. You've got the world champion, you've got the world number 1, I should say, with 1.6 million worth of ranking points, and you've got the guy chasing him, very much at 4th place of the world rankings, and he certainly doesn't have a lot of ranking points to speak for the season before last, which puts him into a very nice position in 12 months' time to potentially be the new world number 1. Everybody talks about Zhao Xingtong and Neil Robertson. I think about Xingtong a little bit more, but I think Yize is going to be a real dark horse out there, because, he doesn't have to worry about those 500,000 ranking points until at the end of next season. Xingtong's going to have to lose his ones before the end of this season, so it's going to be very interesting to see, at the end of this season, I should say. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see the way that this is going to happen. But obviously, we've got the Wuhan Open, we've got the Tour Championship, we've got plenty of other matches as well that Trump and Yize have played against each other. And it doesn't necessarily tell you the whole picture out there, actually, because, of course, the campaign that Yize had in 2024 English Open, the one that he was the runner-up against Neil Robertson, he beat Trump on the way-in, and he was 5-3, he had a 5-3 win against him. That was second latest match in between themselves. 2 weeks before that, actually, in 2024 again, Saudi Masters, Trump was able to take the win and the edge over Yize, quite an early stage of that tournament, because of the ranking, of course, still being very high for Trump, but not so much for Yize. He won that match 5-4. They've also met in the semi-final of the Wuhan Open in 23, 6-1. Trump was able to dominate that one. Then once again, the WSD Classic, which is a little bit of an exhibition thing in 2023 as well. And ultimately, the most recent meeting, of course, was 6-4 for Yize to be able to win against Trump, set up a clash with Barry Hawkins, and of course dominate the remainder of the International Championship and be very much the guy that was impossible to stop at that point, whether he was Zhao Xingtong, whether he was John Higgins, or he was anyone else at that point. He was simply unstoppable, and that was, of course, his first ranking event in his career. Only has 2 of those, but I'll tell you what, they're not bad ones to have, having a World Championship crown now next to his name, but at the same time, of course, winning home tournaments in China as well. Well, something that will sound a lot better than that is going to be 2 tournaments from China that he's going to be capable of winning, especially if he does overturn a 5-4 deficit against the world number 1. Because you feel like, if you think about what is it going to be, what is it going to take for Yize to be the champion, well, it can't take a lot more than beating the world number 1. That clearly is playing some good snooker out there, and everybody knows when Trump is playing well. I wouldn't say he's on fire. It's not quite like yesterday where he was absolutely flying against Higgins, but I still think he's got his moments. I think he's got some mistakes, but I also think he is playing that aggressive, confident snooker. And the only time where Trump is playing that snooker, and you can see it and clearly distinguish it, that's when he's really dangerous, and that's when you have to look out for your chances, because you have to try and make sure you collect them in your basket and don't lose them. And you have to use them as well to get those frames on the board, because if you don't do that, Trump is going to be one of the most, if not the most dangerous and clinical man. I would probably put him ahead of Xiaotington and Yize actually in being clinical when it comes down to if he's playing well. We'll have to find out who's going to be playing better. For now, we get the referee to be introduced. It will be a break-off shot for Yize, by the way, as you can see on the screen. And it is going to be an interesting one, because I would actually say Yize's break-off shot has always been, a bit of a steady one. But today, he's actually been really good. And Trump was the one struggling. He's had, 5 times he was breaking off? Yeah, I think he was. And horrible on 2 of those occasions. In the first shot of the match, he got the cue ball to be heading into the yellow pocket. And then I think it was the 3rd frame. So his second break-off shot was catching blue full ball. I don't think it cost him on any one of those occasions too badly. But yeah, of course, both of the players are going to have to try and make sure they bring out the best of themselves. But I would still say, doesn't matter what happens in the first couple of frames. It is going to be something that is going to happen throughout the entire session, because we've seen Yize to take those 2 frames away from Trump. And if he does that again, I don't think Trump is going to be too concerned about it, because he's been there before. He knows that it's been done every single week throughout, the competition for Yize. And you could say it's a brand new day, it's a brand new session, even though it's now going to be the evening instead of the afternoon. And I would still say Trump is the favourite, and I don't think this is going to be one of those matches which is going to go all the way, although, the scoreline may suggest that, as there's going to be a handshake between the players. But I still think, Yize's style of play just doesn't really stick with Trump's style of play in relation to they're way too similar for one of them to be like, well, you know what, you win 1 frame, I win 1 frame too. I just feel like one of them is inevitably going to go on a run. The question is, who's it going to be? For now then, the break-off shot is in, and Yize is going to get us underway. Lovely little break-off shot. You can see it already with the cue ball aiming towards the ball cushion. He's going to slow down just about in time, and Trump is already going on and exploring the situation with what's happening down to the lower part of the reds. You're very unlikely to completely shut down Trump's ability to go for a long shot very early. I think both of the players have been struggling to do that. But this time around, the reds are going to go everywhere. The pink is going to go everywhere. The green is going to go everywhere. But somehow, I think Trump has actually managed to get away with that one. That is absolutely ridiculous. And you can see the hand of apology going up in no time there. I think Trump took an extra second to realize what actually happened there. Missed the red by a mile. He cannoned into the pink and the reds. The pink and the cue ball cannoned into the green out there. Put the green over the pocket. The pink is now going to be at the top end of the D. And so that's going to be preventing from Yize seeing that red in full. So he's just going to try and swerve around it to carefully play a safety shot out of that red. Plenty of things happening, and it's only been 2 shots of the second session yet. So then I think the script writes itself for Trump. He's just going to have to try and play this one with plenty of backspin. Try and aim the cue ball towards the pink, which is exactly what he's done. Could have done with, actually it's alright. I was going to say could have done with bringing the cue ball slightly towards the left side, but I think it's way too marginal to be saying that. And I also think that, even with Yize's ability to go for those long shots, and even though I did say that beforehand, that he shouldn't go for a long shot, he still went and he put it in brilliantly. I still think it's going to be a little bit opportunistic even for him, with his third shot of the second session. And of course, if you don't go for an attack, that's when you're going to have to try and think about it, because usually he doesn't have to think about it too much because of how aggressive he is. But this time around, he may have to play towards the red on the left-hand side of the black here, which means he's going to have to use 2 cushions, because it's way too risky for you to be playing at 1 cushion. So you're just going to have to try and get that one from underneath, play that shot, I was going to say superbly well, but then I realised that he has left the chance here for Trump. to be taking a red into the left middle. It's a tight one in relation to the cut is very thin. And also I think the brown is going to be the target for the cue ball, which, I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter. He's got the green pretty much over the pocket. So it's down to whether you can pot the red or not. Which usually, I mean, Trump does answer those questions very positively for himself. But yeah, he decided not to take that question at this point of the frame and just deciding to play a safe shot, which I have to say a little bit surprising. But I think, as I say, and as I said multiple times, Trump has managed to evolve his game. And he's got a certain element of unpredictability to him. But I also think that he has, you know, for a long time right now, but he has stopped for going those aggressive shots on too many of those occasions, unless there's a very good reason for it, like he's, I don't know, playing super well and he's so far behind that he needs to be taking risks, or he's too far ahead that he can afford to be taking risks and stuff. So he's going to have to wait and see. For now, Yize responds himself with just transitioning the cue ball on towards on the cushion of the table. Now then, Trump is going to send that cue ball all the way towards the green pocket, and nicely, with a nice neighborhood of the green itself, sends that red all the way towards the pack here. So, I mean, yeah, the problem about the position here and taking risks, of course, as well, which is going to be relevant for both of the players, is now Yize potentially trying to spot a plan there, which is going to be one way for you to try and get out of a stalemate for a safety, which I think one thing that both players are going to be agreeing on is that I don't really think they're going to be looking for potential chances of, trying to go for those safety battles to sort of go for as long as it's possible. He was looking for that plant, and to be fair, he's managed to do something which is going to help him out and help Trump out as well. Gets a little bit fortunate, although he was sending that cue ball into that area, so it may have been all part of the tactic as he gets that cue ball perfectly behind the pink. So Trump now finds himself in trouble. But yeah, the reason why I say he's made his life easier is that because he missed that red by so much that he's bounced from the left side, from the right, from the black ball cushion, cannon into the black, and now the black is going to be available to play, at least for a single shot there. I'm not sure if the black ball spot is going to have plenty of space around it, but yeah, I mean, it's a nasty position now that Trump finds himself in. You can see one of the reds, but I mean, there's not a lot of use that he can get out of it. And unless he's thinking about actually going for this red, which I'm not really going to say is going to be something that will put a lot of hope in him, but look at that. Brilliant cross double. And from that circumstances, it was a, best possible shot for him, because I genuinely thought you might have to, force himself to be heading for that red, which is basically a long shot along the cushion, which is, something that you would do in a pool, but not not necessarily in snooker. Although the left corner pocket has always been playing generous throughout the week. And it's exactly the pocket that Yize is going to be aiming for now. He's got the line to try and take the cue ball towards the brown or blue, or even the pink. And look at that, brilliantly taken. But look at how much confidence he had. Has he had too much a little bit though? Oh, I'll tell you what. Looking at the body language, he seems pretty happy with it, which is surprising because I thought he overplayed that one. Basically, he tried to play the cue ball for the black, which to me was super risky and super aggressive, but at the end stage, he hasn't left any of the reds, if you think about it, but he's also seemingly marginally on the black there, which is brilliant news for him. And now just trying to get himself started here and, beelines up with a decent opportunity. Now that all took the black away, lost control of the cue ball a little bit. Now, what is going to be the condition of the black itself? And what's going to be the situation with, the red going past the black? Because I feel like it's going to be not quite as easy as it might look. As now we're just still trying to sort out this thing. There we go. It's all working now. Anyway, yeah, so Yize then, just having a think about it, because I felt like, he's got ahead of it, like 5 or 6 reds ahead of himself. But he still finds himself in a position where he can't really use any one of them, because he's got 2 reds to be covered up by the black and one another. He's got 3 reds into the middle, which he can't really take because another red is gone there. So, he's going to have to seemingly go for a thin cut on the red into the right middle. Let's see. Ooh, that one was a little bit wide. And that way, it is going to bounce away from the backhand jaw here. So, I wouldn't say it's going to be, one of those very much unforced errors. He was unlucky with it, but to be fair, You know, you write your own luck sometimes in snooker as well. And now it's going to be just 8 points of a break. And Trump now has got his moment to shine and get himself, you know, the perfect revenge for the 6-4 scoreline. But of course, this time around it's going to be a bit of a different format. And the advantage for Trump here, of course, is that he's going to have the ability to play that cue ball through the red onto the right corner, get himself lined up for the black without any issues, and at the same time, he's got a decent opportunity to try and play the black into the left corner whilst developing some of those reds away from the black ball spot as well. Though he's certainly thinking about this one, so whether he's thinking about which way does he approach the shot or just thinking about what does he expect from this situation. For now, just carefully takes the black away, positions himself nicely for the red to be taken into the right corner. As long as the black is not going to be interfering with him, which I think he will be, so he's going to have to go for another red. But once again, as I say, good news for him, he's got plenty of those available. And even though he's going to be very low on colours, as he overcuts that red a little bit, but still drops in. And yeah, he's going to be low on colours in relation to he only has the blue and the black, with the pink being nowhere to be seen. You know, green still being right next to its own pocket, but ultimately I think the black is now going to be limited to pretty much nothing available to it for now. So he's going to have to try and take a couple of reds first, although the black might just about go into the right corner, about to find out. And I think that's what Trump is going to have a look at now. And it doesn't seem to need a very long look at it, but I think we're going to find out with the way that he's approaching the shot. And he's playing with topspin, which to me suggests that the black does go, and that's exactly the reason. So then he's going to try and go for the black into the right corner. That, of course, makes his life a lot easier, because it's not a simple thing to do, you know, when you've got the black to be covered up into both of the pockets, and for you to change that, oh, I'll tell you what, that's a little bit tight. I mean, he had a very quick look at it first time, but now he's having a good old look at it here to make sure that he strikes the right part of the black there. I mean, he certainly goes, but you can't really take it into the front part of the pocket there. He's going to have to try and play that quite far away from the front jaw, so always a little bit of a risk for you to overplay that, but he's played that really well in relation to the position of the black, in relation to the pocket. You know, the angle was changed, so I'm not sure how close it was. Would to win 10-8? Well, he can, but you know, for now, it doesn't seem to be doing too well in the first frame after that mistake that he had, which, you know, you could say was an unforced one, because it still would have backed him to go for that red and make it into the middle, but clearly didn't work out on that occasion, as Chom there just delicately puts him behind another red, and all of a sudden finds himself now 22 points clear, scoring 30 points, and now still looking to try and make it. We have very rarely seen in the opening 9 frames those encounters where, you know, you've got Trump and Yize battling it all out until the last black there. Usually, you know, the position and the situation of the table has been decided way before that. But remember, Trump had a break of 38 points in the first frame of the first session. Now he's got the break of 38 points at the first frame of the second session. But of course, this time around, he's actually going to continue on that. In that time around, he was stopped because of him missing out on the red. And this time around, he's going to be able to get at least 39 points, taking the black away. Didn't want to have contact with the red, though. Ooh, I'll tell you what, I mean, that's a little bit tight for comfort. And once again, sometimes a very tiny contact can have very severe consequences for you. And yeah, he's all right because he was able to get through to the middle red anyway, so he didn't have to use the one closer to the right middle. But I tell you what, it's probably going to be the best position that he had. And when you think about the way that he got into this position, he didn't really have to play too many of those difficult shots. So Trump then getting himself back to work. I hope Trump wins the Masters. If you mean this one, then okay. If he's talking about the Triple Crown, then it's quite far away from it now, as he now, well, plays the red quite far away into the backhand jaw, but still drops that one in, despite playing that with plenty of power. And once again, it is going to be another frame, another break of 55 plus points here for Trump, as he's going to add that to the breaks, to the best breaks tally. Going to make that in the top 4 and the 7th already. Break of 50 plus there for himself, which is super impressive when you think about. He's only managed to win 5 and a little bit of frames. He hasn't won this one yet, but he's not too far away from it. Now 62 plays 8. He does find himself in a little bit of no man's land here, because he's on the run for the reds into the corner, which I think he was playing for. And, you know, the cue is not quite going to be perfectly placed because of the black there for him to try and go for the reds. He got the red in. Didn't really, I mean, I felt like I don't really understand what he was doing there on the previous occasion, because now, even though he got the red in and he got it quite well, I wonder what he's going to do now, because he has to go for the blue. But with how close the cue ball is in relation to the jaw, the pocket, and the cushion, I don't think he's going to be able to use any spin here at all. So he's just going to be all down to pace limitation, but he can't really limit the pace too much. He needs to roll the cue ball through this shot here, which he has done, to be fair. Now then, 60 points is the lead. So this is the frame ball, you know, not more, no more, not less. And Yize is going to be thinking about that mistake for a while there, but as soon as, you know, his chance is going to come to him, then he's going to have to try and put that out of his head. Can't change it, but let's see if he's going to be able to change the frame. This is not an easy frame ball to be taking on. He got away slightly from Trump, and this time around he was able to recover, but still, yeah, he's on the black, to be fair. I thought he was just going to be running a little bit too wide there. Now ahead by 61 points, 59 at the table. So then we're going to be looking at probably just trying to drop the black in. I mean, he is going to be focused about, you know, trying to win the frame first and foremost. And then if he doesn't get the century, then I think his life is still going to be just about as good as it was. And yeah, I mean, he's going to go for this red into the right middle, whilst probably just leaving that cue ball to be lined up for the blue. And look at that for a shot. Brilliantly taken there with Trump. I mean, clearly, as soon as he parted that black, he was like, well, I'm going to go for it. And he certainly did. That was one to the tally of very difficult shots that Trump has played. Now then, the 3 remaining reds that he'll need for a century break are all there for him. 2 easier than the third one, but at the same time, there's nothing that he's going to be like, you know, I can't pot that, or I'm going to have to try and make contact with it. It's all possible into the left corner as he takes the first red into the right. So then he's going to be the highest break of the match so far, as he now makes the break of 90 points, trying to get around the red through a nice little pocket there, missing it on the approach to the left side cushion, and then as the cue ball exits on towards the right one, he's now going to be perfectly placed on the red. It might actually try to nudge the other red out of the way, which he has done. They'll compromise him for the black, but, you know, he now gets the red into a brilliant position over the right middle. So once again, thinking clearly there with Trump, and just needing to make sure the black is going to be dropped in as well, but he won't, so he's going to be disappointed with that one. But as I say, I think his life is not going to be any worse than he was beforehand, but now he will be down to a break of 91 points, which is still going to be a very healthy break there for Watchalong. Still not a century break, but now look and see, 612 points scored, and he's got now 6 frames to be having on the board as well. 100 points for every frame that he wins is not too bad at all. Then Yize has got 384 for 4 frames that he has to his name as well. And now then, well, Yize, once again, as he was doing for the last couple of times, does find himself 2 frames down. 4-2, 5-3, and now 6-4 once again. If the tendency is going to continue, I think Trump is going to be the happier of the two, because he needs to make sure that he tries to keep that gap very much, you know, in place. And after playing some brilliant shots at the end of the break, you know, he was able to take good control of the position at the opening start of it and didn't really have to do anything too serious, although he did have some really good shots that he played even before the frame was over. And yeah, now, once again, it is down to Yize to try and perform a little bit better. Once again, just not really able to get those mistakes out of his game here yet. And, you know, whether he's going to be able to do that now or not, we're going to have to wait and see. He's probably capable of doing that, but, you know, this is the time for him to perform, because if he tries to leave that one a little bit too late, it may prove to be a little bit too late for him as well. For now, Trump still finds himself very much in control of what's going to be happening. Let's see if he's going to be able to perform a little bit better at the break-off shot here, though. So we're now going to be waiting for the referee to, you know, give Trump the nod of approval, and then it'll be down to Judd to break us off and get the 11 frame started of the minimum 14 that we're going to witness. Of course, the intermission is still going to come after the 4 opening frames of the second session, and then there'll be very much a race towards the end out there. And we are guaranteed to have an intermission, because even if Trump is to win the remaining 3 frames, he's still going to need at least 1 more to be in the final. But yeah, you would probably expect, Yize to be a bit more of a challenge than, winning just 4 of those frames. Especially with him winning the opening 2. I mean, it's still very much incredible that ever since that point, out of the remaining 8 frames, Trump was able to win 6 of them. That's really good consistency there when he comes down to the semi-final results. Now then, the time is up, and Trump is going to break us off there. Just keep an eye on this one. See if it's going to be too close to the jaws. It was a little bit, but I don't think it was anything that should, concern anyone here, including Yize and Watchalong, and just and again, radio check. Hopefully that's going to sort itself out. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened there. Apologies for that. And, well, just don't know. He did that in the World Championship beforehand as well. So hopefully it's not really going to be down to the mic. But, yeah, just keep an eye on that one. And if it's going to stop playing up again, I'm just going to have to try and reset it. But, yeah, thank you for that one. And we have missed out on a couple of those shots from Yize. But he's now certainly still very much able to go for those shots. And he's now able to just be lined up for the black for one more time into the left corner and just playing for a very careful shot there into the left corner. Well, I say it was a careful shot. It was very much a shot that he tried to improve the situation with the positional play now. And he's played that really well. Now they're just looking at the reds into the right part of the table. Trump win. Well, could it be the Trump win, or could it be Yize try and take this one all the way out there? What's your prediction? Final score, 10-7 Trump or 10-8 Trump? You don't really give me too much of a margin. Don't like those type of questions, but I will answer it. And if I was to say 10-7 or 10-8, based on what I've seen, I would say 10-7. So I'm going to stick with what I had. I think there is a pattern right now, which you can clearly see, but I think there will be a break of a pattern at some stage. And for now, I don't really see Trump to be breaking that pattern for himself. And I still think there is going to be a real opportunity for Yize to try and get himself closer. But he's going to have to be very much down to working a little bit harder for his own chances there. I mean, he's done that well in some of the frames beforehand, but let's not forget that he got a free chance here of Trump's mistake of a long raid, which still, I think at that point was very much the one that he can easily justify. And now he'll be down to 48 points on the blue to be taken into the right middle. So then, if he's going to be looking for those reds, he's got plenty of those to choose from. I mean, once again, that's probably the situation where he doesn't actually need the pink, because all he's going to be doing is getting in the way of the cue ball and those reds, as he now carefully takes the pace away from the blue, drops that one into the middle, makes another break of 50 plus for himself, his third joint highest of the entire match there, and very much the average break as well, 52.5 there. He's going to be improving that with a minor effect as it stands, and yeah, of course, going to be very focused on having 83 points at the table and still having 54 points of a lead. Not too many raids, though, that I would say that are going to be in a problem condition. So he's going to have to carefully make his way towards the black there. Didn't want that contact with the reds. And I think he's not going to have to pay too much of a price here, though. And in fact, it probably worked out better for him in relation to just put one of those reds to be safe, which is always nice when you've got someone potentially there to be playing catch-up, as he would have been in the situation with Trump. But he's now going to be looking at the reds to choose from at the left corner. You know, just having a look at the reds to be taken all the way with the cue ball. He's done that through the gap in between the brown and green quite nicely, and still going to be positioned top side for the blue. 62 points of a lead now, with only 75 at the table. So if he takes the pink away, which seemingly will, probably just, you know, for it to be respotted back on towards the yellow spot. But ultimately, the next red will be very much a frame ball for him. Now then, a nice little transition, one cushion. And he's now got an easy red in the middle of the pack there to be taken. The pink indeed will go back onto its own spot. So then 68 points of a lead and 75 points at the table. I think he'll be down to this red to be taken here into the left corner. And yeah, the cue ball is going to have plenty of pace taken away from it. And now it is certainly going to be the frame for Yize there, it would seem, especially if the black is going to make his way towards the pocket. And once again, we are turning the pace up in relation to the quality of the break building skills now, because he had one mistake in the previous frame. It was quite a costly one and quite a big mistake from Yize. And, you know, it proved out to be very costly indeed for him. Trump had a bit of a minor mistake on the long shot, but at the same time, the bottom line is the price that you have to pay is going to be the same here, and it's going to be the price of a single frame there that your opponent is going to get away from yourself. And let's see if as Yize plays a brilliant shot there to try and get another red away from the pink, which is going to make his life in attempt to making a century break even easier. Now they're just going for a careful cut onto the red, making sure the cue ball is still going to be positioned nicely for the pink to be taken in towards the left middle. So play through the pink, get himself lined up for the reds into the left corner. At that stage, he should have a decent line on taking the red away into the left corner. And once again, the next red and colour combination should be very much the one that will take him towards a second century in the match there. You know, the highest break of Watchalong hasn't really touched 92 so far, but he has been 91 beforehand. Yize has managed to make a break of 93 before, and now he's going to be 2 shots away from making it the second century break, and the one that he's certainly going to enjoy now. Because when you think about the way that he's managed to win that 4 frame for him, it was probably the only actually frame that has seen a very close battle in between the players, as he now makes it a break of 99 points. So still looking very nicely actually to make it a break of 140 plus there, you know, which is of course a sign for him to make a total clearance with 15 reds and 15 colours to be potted before the 6 colour clearance to be joined there as well. For now he needs to take a red away, which he has done. So then he's still looking at a very healthy clearance, although he's going to have to lose 2 points out there. So if he's going to be going for the blue, which will only allow him to make up to 139, which is still not going to be too shabby at all. And as he now takes the blue away, looking to try and see the cue ball go past the brown, which he hasn't really done so. So I think 112 may be the limit there for him, especially if he can't see the yellow properly, but he may just still try and go for a double in towards the middle. It's a decent effort, but it's not going to be too close to the pocket at the end. So then a break of 112 points. It will be the end of Yize, and he ends up on 499 points exactly, as he now has a second century to his name here. And he's now going to have Chomp to be leading by 6 frames to 5, and still, Chomp having that ability to maintain the lead, but at the same time, Yize having that ability to stay with his opponent and to certainly put a little bit of pressure on him by the end of those frames to still have that mindset of trying to make sure he's going to be able to maintain his lead of 2 frames or more. But we are going to be entering the zone where, if Yize needs to try and make a change here in terms of, break the tone of the game and break that pattern, which has been going since frame number 6, where, it's 2 frame of a gap. Yize wins 1, then Chomp wins 1, and that's been going on like this until this very moment. So then we're going to have to wait and find out whether that will be the same case here. But for now, Chomp still leads the poll by 63% to 37. I actually do think the closer it gets towards the final stage of this match, the more of a chance there is going to be for Yize to try and just sting in there, hang in there, and make sure that when the chances come, like he did in the 11th frame, he's going to be able to take them. And, in those particular circumstances, I don't think he can do a lot more than that. So I think he's going to be pretty happy with what he's done in relation to the previous frame. Whether he's going to be able to sustain that throughout the entire match, that's going to be another variable for him to try and keep in mind of. But for now, I think he's certainly going to be very happy with how well he's managed. And now just waiting patiently for the start of the frame number 12. As you can see there, by the way, average break for 61.0 for Yize, 52.5 there, just over 50 points out there for Chomp. But ultimately, interestingly enough, more balls spotted there for Chomp by 37, 178 to 141. And also, I'm pretty sure that he has scored significantly more points, both from fouls, as you can see, 12 foul points that Yize has given away to his opponent, and then Chomp has given away 8 over to his opponent respectively, which of course 4 of which came into the first shot of the match. Now then, an opportunity for the referee to let Yize know that he's going to be his turn to be breaking off, and everything is ready, everything is set up. Now let's get the 12th frame underway, the penultimate frame before the final break of the 15 minutes, and then it's all going to be the race towards the finish line in between the 2 players to see who will be waiting for Zhao Xington or Karen Wilson to be the winner of their pair, and be waiting for them in the Shanghai Masters final. It's not a bad waiting lunch for them, of course, but now, once again, as it was in the first shot of the mini session, it's now going to be a chance for Chomp to be going for the ready to the corner. I'm pretty sure that one he missed by an absolute county mile. Let's see what's going to happen here. He's going to miss this one by a slim margin, but he still missed it. And now, the same red, well, not really the same red, I actually lost if it was the red that Chomp was playing there, or it was the one that he caught midway through, right next to the black there. But anyway, one of them has been left over the pocket, and now, just like it was in the previous frame, I say over the pocket, it's bounced quite far away actually. So, going to be very interesting to see on what's going to happen here. Is he going to have to just try and play the cue ball through that gap in between the red and the black? The red that he's going to be higher than the black there, because he's capable of playing this shot, but yeah, it was never going to be easy. I'm not sure if he's managed to get away with this one though, because the black is certainly not available, but of course Chomp is going to be looking at the red right above the black there to see if he goes into the right corner, and then if it does, which I think it does, he's going to have a chance to play for the brown, blue, or green and yellow at the top end of the table. So the red certainly went. The black is not going to go unless you talk about the left part of the table. But once again, Yize had his chance, and as we've seen beforehand throughout those 11 frames, you must not take those chances lightly. You must make sure you do everything that you can to try and utilize them to the full extent. And, you know, as I say, I think Trump at some stage will break that pattern. For now, he needs to try and hold on to that pattern here and get himself within 3 frames away of winning this match, but also just distance himself 2 frames away from his opponent. You know, he didn't take that long shot well enough in the previous frame, and yes, it probably wasn't all down to him. Well, I mean, certainly was down to his fault, but he can't blame himself too much for that. He went for the gap disappeared. He wasn't able to go for that for any more shots in that particular frame, and Yize cleared up with a century break of 112 points. You know, he's going to have to try and move on and make sure. Well, alternatively, you go for those long shots better, or you don't go for them at all. And of course, with Chomp, he still went for the long shot. He still missed it, but you know, Yize wasn't able to take his own opportunity. And now, 21 points later, Chomp is letting him know that he's still going to be the man, very much leading the pack here. And now, of course, looking at a different sort of a pack and just making sure that he's going to be able to score as many of those free or cheap points as you can call them. I think he's still got 2 more reds that he can certainly take, and then as he takes the second one away from the right-hand side of the pink, I think there's going to be 1 more red for him to be taken into the right corner. But for now, he's going to clear up the black ball cushion of any reds to be next to it. And of course, he's still going to have 1 more red at the top end of the table, though. I think you're going to struggle to realise which pocket is going to be the easiest for you to try and aim for that red. Now, the 30 points clear. And once again, just looking at the chance that he's got ahead of himself. I mean, he's looking for a very thin gap there to see if he's going to have a chance to get through to that red closest, second closest I should say, of all of them, onto the right side cushion. But if he can't, he's just going to have to try and play it in behind of the red. Ooh, look at that, a little brush. And I'm not sure if it's going to be the one that costs him dearly. And he won't, but still doesn't seem like, you know, he got onto the red that he was playing for. Good news for Chomp. He's still going to have an alternative red right next to it to be played. And once again, being top side of a blue, he's going to have to get his calculations right this time because he doesn't have a backup option on this particular occasion. You know, he's going to have a 43 points of a gap if he does put the blue, but he still would love to try and continue that tendency of winning at a single opportunity there. But I think he's done really well in opening that gap there for the cue ball because he basically has left himself a red with a straight line, which is great news. Or about as straight as it could have been. These two can conjure big scores given the chances. It's safeties and long pots that will win the battle. Yeah, but I also think, you know, I don't actually agree that safeties will. I think long battles, but that sort of goes with a mistake. I mean, you think about this frame though, and it's probably been exactly the reason why Trump is the one looking to try and make it an advantage of 2 frames there for himself. You know, he's gone for a long shot, he's missed it, then he's left an easier chance for Yize. Yes, it wasn't the easiest, but it was still an easier than the long shot that he was going for. Yize misses it, leaves Trump even an easier chance, and now 52 points later, you feel like, well, if it was the other way around, you know, if it was Yize that went for that long red, would Trump have missed that red into the corner? He might have, but I don't think he would have. And in the end, now it's going to be playing a brilliant shot there into the back of reds from the black. 59 points clear. And he's got plenty of reds to work his way through now. This frame does seem like he's going to get away completely from Yize. As it's now going to be 60 points of the advantage. And still going to be very much on purpose, I think. Wrong side of a blue. Trying to send the cue ball to the top end of the table. Probably to try and play in behind of that red. And get himself through to a chance of taking that red away in towards the left middle and just carefully making sure there's not going to be any contact in between the white and the red. 65 points is the lead, 75 at the table. Any colour that he'll take after this red is going to get him towards 7-5 of a lead and make sure that even after the intermission, he's still going to be very much a man to catch. And he would have won 2 out of the opening 3 frames, which, you know, is going to make sure that at least he's going to be able to maintain that 1 frame of a lead, or alternatively, he's going to have a 3 frame of a lead to his name out there as he now makes the break of 70 points out there, 71 to be precise, as he pots the blue into the right middle And now he's going to be all down to, as soon as he gets this red into the corner, he will be all down to just a century break that he's going to be aiming for. If Trump can get it on here, he will certainly be a big booster. He will be, but I also think that, we've seen a century break from Yize. Didn't really help him in this frame, did it? So I think it's going to be a lot more complicated than that. And I still think for Trump, he could be a little bit of a shapeshifter, but I still think it's, even though he didn't get a century before in the match, I don't actually think it's going to impact his mindset at all. What I do think is, Yize, from his point of view, needs to start getting a real dent into this handicap of Trump. And that, of course, means starting off with the next frame. But you've got two parties that are going to be very much competing with each other. Trump looking to try and extend that lead now of 2 frames in the next frame and try and make it very much his match to lose with 8-5 of a lead or something. And Yize is going to have to be, once again, within just 1 frame away from his opponent, which is not the easiest thing in the world, as you can see more than 200 points is going to be the gap in between Trump and Yize, as he still continues to maintain that record of basically scoring 100 points for every single frame that he wins. So as soon as he scores 1,000 points, he should be certainly on his way to be winning this match. Of course, that's not the way that it works. But if you look at the numbers, that's the way that the numbers do suggest that, as he's now on a number 99, the red for the century break, and he could still make it by far the biggest break of the match out there. Yize had a break of 112, 103, and, Trump is able now to surpass one of those two. And look at that action on the cue ball. Brilliant side spin off the side cushion and perfectly line up for the yellow now to be taken into his own pocket with 107 points of a lead here. Plays the cue ball through the gap in between the yellow spot and the brown spot there. And positions the cue ball really nicely for the green to try and take this one away and be lined up for a 1-3-4 total clearance, which is going to be, talk about a big boost if you need one. It's going to be feeling like a nice little, that was a little bit unorthodox. Missing out on the brown. He felt like he was very straight there, but maybe just trying to find out the angle where he wasn't really there. Trump will be surprised, but in the end, it is going to be a break of 112. So, 2 exactly same breaks out there. One by Trump, one by Yize, in 2 different frames here, of course, as it's now going to be a break of 100 plus points there for Trump, which is going to make sure that he's going to be the leading man after the intermission. But with what sort of a gap is it going to be? Will it be an ultimate race towards the finish line with just 1 corner to go of an 8-5 lead, or is it going to be still all to play for and Yize leaving himself within that touching distance and making it down to 7 frames to 6? Either one of those scenarios are possible. Certainly if you look at what happened since Trump had that 4-2 of a lead, then we've seen 6 frames. 3 of them have been won by Yize. 3 of them have been won by Trump. So nothing to separate the players right now. But as all the patterns in the world, at some point he will break, or the match will end, of course, if it doesn't break until the end of it. But if you talk a lot more about snooker and what's actually happening on the table, then you see we finally got to the stage where we weren't really starting this match, where one mistake and it's all over for you. That was the case for Trump when he went for that long raid in frame number 11. At that point, I thought it was completely justifiable. He was sending the cue ball to the top edge of the table, which is full of ball collars. I thought he wasn't going to leave anything away. He did leave the same raid that he was playing for over the pocket, and then 112 points followed from Yize. And interestingly enough, exactly the same break followed after Yize wasn't able to take his chance away, given once again after a mistake from a long shot. So, from Trump's point of view, you've got 2 long shots that he missed in the last 2 frames. One of the frames that he's lost with a break of 112. The other frame that he's won with a break of 112. So I think, all the stats tell you that he's been a very, very close couple of frames, and therefore a very close match as well. But, you can't have a draw. You're going to have someone to win it. And for now, it does seem like Trump just got a little bit more of control there in relation to what's happening with himself and his opponent. But it doesn't mean that he's going to stay like this till the end of the match. And there's still going to be plenty of opportunities for either one of them to try and break that sequence away. For now, someone who's going to break something off there is going to be Trump. After a very quick sequence of 3 frames, it is now going to be him to get us underway in the 4th frame, as we're still nowhere near the hour mark, and now approaching the starting point of the 4th frame of the 2nd session. Lovely little break-off shot there by Chomp. Yize was already looking at the red into the left corner. Now he's going to have to say no to that one because of the yellow being in the way. And probably just going to have to try and send the cue ball wide there and off the 2 cushions on towards the black ball cushion here. Nice little bounce, and pace absorption was there for him as well. So then Chomp just having a look to see if there's going to be any of those chances that he can try and take in towards the left middle. Whether that's going to be the case or not, we're going to have to wait and see. But for now, he is going to be playing that cue ball away to the top edge of the table and still looking to try and get the cue ball to be in behind the green here. So still, no sign of any one of the players looking for something too aggressive here. Although it's probably going to be down to Yize not seeing any one of those options. Although you might see one now. The red just a little bit to the right, like a 1 o'clock position of the pink. Does he go into the corner? The answer is it doesn't. Didn't really want to catch any other reds in the progress. And look at that. Horrible pace on the white. But he might have actually saved him here, I don't know if you can see the red past the blue there, closer to the left corner. Because if Chomp can do that, then he could be well back to the previous frame. But he can't see it. And therefore, he can't really do anything with the attacking approach here, which, he does have a little bit of a, little extra distance that he doesn't have to travel there with the cue ball. And he needs to be very much aware of that too. And nice little pace justification there from Chomp, as long as he's once again managed to do exactly the same thing and cover up the reds with the blue. Right now, it seems like Yize is going to go for the red plate into the left corner. Play that one with a little bit of right hand side and still try and bounce that one away off the right side cushion. Make sure he's going to force the cue ball to be staying onto the ball cushion, or at least as close to it as he possibly can. Now then, a shot into the left corner is always going to be available, but I feel like at this stage it's not really going to be worth the actual risk of taking that shot on. I think it's going to be all down to finding the perfect angle to maximize the position of the cue ball, rather than trying to go for a shot which will potentially get you anywhere near the pocket with the red. Now then, that's exactly what he's played for, and I think that was very much strategic. And the question is, has he managed to get enough power in that cue ball? He doesn't really want it to be exactly in the in-between of green and blue there, because, as I say, even though it's unlikely at this stage, there's always a slim chance for that dangerous red to be visible, although I feel like with how little players care right now, probably it is boundary on impossible to be leaving that red on, although it certainly is possible if you go beyond the brown, which was nearly something that Yize has done, but this time around, the risk seemingly has worked out for him nicely. And Chomp is now going to be using the Hawkeye to try and see if he's actually able to get through to a red right next to the pink. And this time around, he's certainly going to have to give the referee a chance to have a look at it, because you may well be looking at this one and I'm thinking where the pink was. Oh, he's actually going to try and go in between the brown and blue, which is interesting because it's an easier line. But let's see if he's going to be able to actually see the pass of the red that he's looking for. He was. Now then, how good has he played his own shot? Well, I don't think he played that one too badly. I was going to say too good, but at the end of it all, I've just changed it because, once again, looking at that dangerous red, probably the only thing that he's going to be making difference here, because all the other reds are just going to be impacted by the same red there, just covering the pocket. But I think Yize is just and only just not able to get through to that one. So he's got one more sort of safe red right underneath the pink, and of course with the angle being a little bit wider, although that was certainly a lot of pace, not a lot of accuracy there in terms of the safety. And now, well, is it going to be a chance for Chomp? Can he get through to that red, which is literally now over the left corner? If he can see it. If he can't see it, then it's going to be a very different situation here then. Because, well, I mean, it's borderline in relation to if you want it. Well, he's going to go for this shot then. So he's going to try and use that red as a pocket extension. So trying to pot the red closer to the left side cushion. Those ones, sometimes they go wrong, but not this time around. Brilliant judgment there from Chomp. Didn't play that with too much pace. certainly was able to control the way that he was sending that cue ball and the red at the same time out there. Trump turn 8, well, certainly think that the match is going to go all the way like this. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, that was textbook stuff there from Judd. And now he's allowing himself to be on the pink. And as I say, one of them will break the pattern at some stage. And Trump, of course, for himself, he's going to be hoping that his name is going to be very much on there. Now they're looking to try and play the pink into the right corner. Make sure he's got the pace management on the white. And now looking to try and go for the red in towards the same pocket there. It's still not an easy position. I would say it's a very interesting one to observe, but still think that the pink is probably going to be the key color here. Therefore, you need to make sure there is a path for the clear color to be used. And once again, I'm not sure whether that was a positional shot for the pink, which I think it was. But yeah, he's gone past that red and gone around it basically with the cue ball. So he's going to have to go for the blue. Being wrong side of it, but having plenty of the angle to, and no brown on its spot. So top spin, a little bit of right hand side. Oh, he's trying to just do that with left hand side without using the side cushion, but I don't know if he's overcooked that one with power a little bit. He's always going to be on the red, but just doesn't want to make it awkward for himself. And it's quite interesting to see if he hasn't made it awkward. I think he's just about able to get on top of the cue ball, which would allow him to try and just carefully nudge the red home and play across towards the pink, but doesn't want to be compromised by the reds. And I think that's exactly what happens. He's going to have a look at it. Well, not really. Seems like he's still checking the position for the reds. Although, of course, that may be just, the reaction for him, seeing that he's not going to be on the pink. Well, he certainly was very close, way too close for comfort. But, yeah, I was a little bit surprised that I didn't see any reaction there on your body language. But then, I sort of realized that he was still thinking that he's going to be fine. And he was fine, but so it didn't look fine from that particular angle. Now then, 20 points, and the break's still very much going there for Trump. So then looking for the reds to be taken into the left corner, playing a little bit of backspin on the cue ball. And once again, being slightly out of position here. The wrong side of the pink, but I think with how close he is to the other red, he should be just trying to play this one out wide and get himself lined up for the red to be taken in towards the left middle. Played that one with plenty of power. And actually, he's trying to go close towards the red next to the black there, which will bring another colour into play after being able to clear the path for the pink into the right part of the table completely. Whether you talk about the right middle or the right corner pocket. Now potentially looking to try and do the same thing for the black there. Starting well. Managing to get the red away from the black on the left corner. Nudging another red away from the black towards the left corner as well. Playing the black itself into the right corner now. Trying to go around those reds and still making more and more room there for himself. Once again, left corner for the red, right corner for the black. And he's going to try and use that scheme for a while here until he's going to be able to go for the lowest of the reds. And still quite close to the left corner, which I think could probably be about now. But he's got the angle, certainly just try and drop the cue ball for that red. Take that one away. The natural angle is going to be playing for the black there. So, got a good chance here to try and turn this break into a frame-winning opportunity again. 43 points is the lead. Now, that just doesn't want to make sure, that you'll be all down to him controlling the pace here. And once again, another shot, and it will be the break number 8, I think, for the number 9, actually, I should say, for the 50 plus breaks that he had. He never made one at those frames where Yize was able to be the winner, but at the same time, of course, in 7 frames that he won, he's made 8 breaks of 50 plus, and now he's looking to try and make it 8 frames that he's won, and the 9th break of 50 plus out there. As you can see, only 4 of those for Yize, which just tells you that sometimes, even though he's made 2 centuries, which technically, of course, is more than Trump, but at the same time, he's just not getting that consistent output of those frame-winning opportunities, those little 70s. If you're going to knock them in at all the times there, he may actually win you a lot more matches than centuries breaks do. As now, once again, Trump wisely using the pocket to the extent that it was still very much a control shot for him. But something that he's going to be completely out of control there is the frame for Yize. It's now going to be very much down to an hour And at the same time, it will be a break of 66 points here for Chomp. And he does find himself in a position of going for, the next color will be a frame ball. All of a sudden, once again, just one simple error. And then it's all back down to Judd here to be the man taking the charge here. And, let's see if he's going to be able to try and make another century break here after having back-to-back centuries. 112 points exactly from both of the players. Let's see if we're going to make it 3 in a row here, which is unlikely but possible. He's got 67 points ahead of him as soon as the frame ball disappears, which he has done. Now, let's see if he's got the position on the red, though. Into the corner, of course he does. So ahead by 73. 67. He's going to be at the table, make that 59. So then, he will be 8-5 of a deficit here for Yize to try and recover from. And I'm just thinking, are we seeing the exact same copy of what happened with Karen Wilson and Jiao Xington? Once again, Team England against Team China. And, 5-all the scoreline was. And I'm pretty sure we didn't see the scoreline yet, but we've seen 6-5. And at that point, Wilson was able to storm away and win that match by 10 frames to 5. Of course, not suggesting anything. Trump's still going to have to win 2 more frames, but for now, he's doing very, very nicely here in relation to, what he was at the starting point of the match. Not in relation to the scoreboard, but the way that he's playing as well. He's been able to execute those points quite nicely now, taking another red, plenty of power on it, and looking to carefully take the black away into the right corner as he's now looking to approach the red from the right corner, from the right hand side of it. 97 points now is the break, and Chomp is now going to be rising in the poll as well. 62% of you think that he'll win this match, to 38% of you thinking that he will be down to Yize. So then another black, and he will be 3 centuries in a row. For it to be a break of exactly 112 points, Chomp will have to take the red away with the pink and then miss out on the yellow, but you never know. He certainly can take the red out and miss out on the next color. I think if he gets the position, it's going to be the black that he's playing for. So maybe 113 to be very much on the cards there. And just suggesting that the pocket is not being able to sustain that pressure from Chomp, and just asking the referee to maybe unload a couple of reds that he's been able to pot in there. But yeah, very impressive there. 4 century breaks now. And look at that. 113 is going to be the break after the cue ball. He's eventually going to stop there. The brown probably is going to cover the pocket. It's the only way that he's going to stop Chomp out there. But Chomp is having a look, had a bit of a negotiation with the brown. And I think brown is just about going to make enough way there for the yellow to go past him. And, well, still trying to be a little bit cautious there not to hit the brown. In the end, it will be 112 points, 112 points, and 113 points on the break. 3 centuries out there. One of them was for Yize to get himself within 1 frame away, and the other 2 were made by the world number 1. That closes off another frame with a century break, and now gets himself into the lead of 8 frames to 5. And now only 2 frames away from another final here in Shanghai. Has been the winner, and certainly was the player that was able to end that reign of victories there for Ronnie O'Sullivan of 17, 18, 19 and 23. And of course, Jia managed to win the Shanghai Tournament Masters in 2024 out there before Kyron eventually displaced him at the top of Shanghai last season after beating Ali Carter. But now, Trump clearly looking to be the better of the 2 players, but has Yize got something to try and showcase that he's still going to be very much in the mix when we come back from the intermission in 15 minutes time. Stay tuned in. This is not quite over, although it seems like Trump is absolutely flying through the gears to get himself towards the final. Stay tuned in. Plenty of action still to come in 15 minutes time.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another frame here of the action in between Watchalong and Yize, and this is going to be now the final showdown here to see on who is going to be the winner of the semi-final. No more breaks, no more stoppages, unless there's going to be something very unpredictable to happen. And now the intermission is over and let's see what's going to happen. Quick break off there from Yize, and he hasn't managed to left out a chance here for Watchalong, it would seem, as Trump straight away, once again not wasting any time himself, thinking about just trying to send the cue ball towards the left part of the table and doing that pretty well. So then a very quick start to the second mini session as he was to the first one. 3 centuries by the way in the first 4 frames after the first frame was quite a little bit close, but at the end stage it was still quite comfortable for Trump as he took a 6-4 lead, and at that point Yize managed to respond with a century break of 112 points, matched by a century 112 and 113 by Judd. So incredible consistency there when it comes down to the players. As you can see, breaks of 103, 112, 112 and 113 for the 2 players, and 3 of those 4 have all been made in the latest 4 frames. As now once again Trump is looking to try and find an option for him to go into the right corner. Well, that was a little bit ambitious. Let's see if he's going to get the cover, which I think he will in terms of the blue. Whether that was intentional or not, I'm pretty sure the other 2 reds would have been in the way of each other anyway, but it's the first real chance that Trump wasn't able to take, despite getting the cue ball quite far to the top end of the table. And yeah, we're probably down to the stage where Yize needs to go for it. I think he needs to be clinical, and he needs to make sure every single chance that he has ahead of him, he's going to be very much taken and, transitioned into a very confident break there. Although, sort of could say that he's done that in the break of 112. But that was the only thing that he's done, really. In the previous, mini session, the other 3 frames were dominated by Trump. And this time around, it does seem like Trump took that one a little bit too thin on the edge. And talk about the chances, well, is this going to be the start of something special, or is this going to be the end for the chances of Yize? Every single shot now matters for him. What's he going to be able to do here? He's going to be able to take the red away. How's the cue ball? It doesn't look bad. Needs a good kiss on the blue, and he gets it to a certain extent. It was a very clean shot on the red. He managed to clear the black away of those reds in the middle of the table, and now then, he's got the pink, he's got the blue. He's about to take the yellow into its own pocket. Plenty of bounce for the cue ball, and just now needs these frames, needs the next 2 frames, I would say. Just try and make sure Trump is not going to be feeling that he's only got to win 1 more frame, because at that stage, if it's going to be 9-6, 9-5, you feel like there's going to be very little chance of Yize to recover. I still think, 10-7 is going to be a reasonable scoreline, but I feel like at this stage, it's either going to be more or less, to be fair, because, for Yize to win 2 frames, I feel like he's going to be able to win more than that, if he does win those 2. But, if it's going to be Trump to win this one, I wouldn't be surprised if the final scoreline was 10-5, but I'd be disappointed a little bit for how well we've seen the setup for the first session of 5-4, and then, he still won this one to be giving us at least 17 of those 19 frames, which he may still do. It's a very good chance now for Yize in relation to how well he's managed to take that opening red. And then 2 colors later, with the green, then the blue, with the yellow I should say, then the blue, and now he's got his transition all the way to the black. But the question is, what is his red situation, and what can he do here? I mean, it's quite far away, the black, from its usual spot, which, makes any positional contact with those reds a lot more difficult there for Yize. But ultimately, I think he's going to be looking to try and make contact with those reds, probably from the left part of the pack there. Just try and keep the red on the right-hand side of it. Oh, I mean, he's trying to take the pace completely away, which, I mean, I don't know if he's managed to do that. He's looking to the stands as if to say, well, he's messed this one up. I can't say, so I don't know, but I think he is. He is going to have to play it safe. Well, that's a blunder and a half, that is, because what he was clearly trying to do, probably doing the sensible thing, actually, because of the black being so far away from those reds, what he had to do was to wait 1 more shot, and then this was going to be the shot where he was going to try and play the cue ball into the reds whilst trying to play on the black. Well, didn't work out, and as I said, he needs to be a lot more clinical with his chances. Well, we haven't really seen that yet, and yeah, now we will be all back down to a red taken into the right corner for Judd Trump. If he can do that, I think that's going to be a great confidence boost that he's seen his opponent to miss an opportunity like this. And Trump himself, well, potentially he's going to give another opportunity away, because I think the red is going to be very much available to the cue ball. Well, that's a little bit of a surprise, that, because now that's going to be 2 opportunities there, 2 mistakes in a row. The previous long red, as much as he was a great shot from Yize, but it was still a mistake from Trump. I don't think there's anything denying that. Okay, so the situation does seem like Yize's unable to, well, can he? I mean, if he can't go for the red into the left corner, I don't know why he was looking at the red into the left middle, but in any case, just carefully take the pace away. He's done that now, and he's on the blue, and he's on the green. So then attempt number 2, but ultimately just going to have to try and take this one as if it was an attempt number 1. The biggest problem is, of course, despite missing out on that opportunity, he still hasn't played that ultimate shot, which was going to, increase the number of reds that are available to him. And so now he doesn't want to decrease his chances, and he's just about okay there. Felt for a second that he was going to finish right on top of the red, which would have made queuing very difficult. But now, this is the shot where things will go and things will change. Well, I thought so. They didn't really. And now he's got a nice little circle of reds underneath the pink spot. That was really weird, the way that he's sort of seen the cue ball to bounce on the reds as if it was a trampoline. But yeah, now 22 points is the lead. I mean, for his For sure, I thought he was going to make a couple of those reds in, and I thought he was going to have to try and concentrate on the potting angle. He's done that well, but he still hasn't got any reds to try and play for. So he's going to have to try and hammer the blue hole, which he has done. And look at that. That is absolutely brilliant from Yize. That deserves a round of applause there. That was out of nowhere. He's managed to pull out a Judd Trump shot. And I tell you what, well, that was brilliant. Right into the heart of the circle. And he literally has got 4 reds at the same time right now available to him, on top of the ones that are going to be available to him as well. That was the shot which could potentially inspire a comeback. Of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much, but it's brilliant. And it's very nice to see Yize is still feeling that. He's alive. And despite him not taking this chance from the first time, now he's got a second opportunity. Let's see if he's going to be able to make everything out of this particular opportunity here, as he now decides not to be rushing too much and play for the blue there, the safer way. And the reason why I say the safer way is that he can always overscrew a little bit, because now he's got the pink for company next to the blue, a little bit higher than the blue ball spot, so he can always just try and leave it a little bit more of power, and then he's going to have the pink and the ball colours if, you know, he's misused the power by a long way, waiting for him in case of some sort of emergency for him. For now then, very quick skills there to get himself through to 40 points, and now lining up the black into the right corner. Plenty of backspin once again required. Trying to probably use the side cushion to give that cue a bounce. Doesn't want to leave it too close away to the cushion, so that's going to impact the cueing and the ability to add any extra spin that he wants. And yeah, of course, because of him, you know, not taking all those reds with the most expensive colours, Trump need to be careful from here on. Well, I wouldn't really say he's the one that needs to be careful. He's still pretty comfortable. You know, 8-6... he's still only 2 frames away. You know, the thing that you forget is Yize's going to have to go on the run and win 5 out of remaining 6 frames, which is very, very difficult for him. But, you know, he's done really well so far in this frame. And once again, a great shot. And once again, as soon as he was sort of running low on those reds available to him, he sort of just sent that cue ball on the journey towards the reds. And all of a sudden, instead of 1, he's now going to have 5 of those available. And I tell you what, I've seen 3 centuries, and I know I probably shouldn't be talking about it just yet, but I'll have full permission as soon as he gets the blue and the red in. Could it be the incredible 4 centuries on the bounce? The blue is in, so just the red needed, and then the frame is going to be done and dusted. And then all of a sudden, oh sorry, but yeah, well still he's got plenty of points for a century break. I forgot that he didn't start from 0, but still, you know, we've seen 112 twice back to back. We've seen 113. So let's see what's it going to be now then. As Yize is still, well, at this stage, still trying to be within 2 frames of Judd Trump. And, you know, it's going to be a lot better than being 4 frames behind. As he's now lining up the red into the left corner. And Trump still looking like, you know, he knows what he's doing. But at the same time, he doesn't have a lot to do in this particular frame. Have seen Trump lose 5 straight? Yeah, I have. And I've actually, well, I haven't seen it, but I know that he has lost 6 frames in a row against Yize. So, you know, it's possible, but I'd still say there are, you know, numbers. And I think numbers that right now, they're going to be working very much in Trump's favour. Although it's a brilliant shot there from Yize. And I would say he just needs to make sure he gets his game to very much to the level which got him here at this stage, you know, especially the match that he's played against Shanghai. Yes, he had mistakes. Yes, he wasn't perfect, but he was also playing some brilliant snooker at that stage. And I'm really getting excited about the century rate that he can make. He can't really make 113 here, which it's not like it matters, but, you know, we seem to have a bit of a trend out there. He's now on 68 points of a break, and then he's got 42 points ahead of him. So he's still looking for 110 if he does make a total clearance and takes both of the blacks away with those reds. And apart from the brown, all the colours are going to be on their spot. So there's nothing that's going to stop him from potentially making a century break. As he now looks at the final red that he's just taken. Transition on towards the yellow from the black is going to have a side cushion in between. And lovely shot once again taken so nicely. Gets himself to 100 points scored. But ultimately 83 of those have come on this very break. Once again, the yellow is about to find the back of the pocket. And what a high-scoring semi-final it has been. This is going to be a potential for the 5th century to be made. And, you know, I think I mentioned at the starting point of the match, was quite disappointed with how few of those we've seen at the start of it, but then, haven't seen too many of those close encounters all the way to the end and all the way to the black there, but we have seen it in the 9th frame, and ever since that point, we've seen a lot of break building skills there, showcased by both of the players. 10-7, 10-8, Trump, you think, would be the result? Yeah, I agree. And I still think, 10-7, I said it at the start of the match, and I'm going to stick to it now, but I think, as I said right now, if I was to make an estimate here, I would say it's unlikely in my brain, as, Yize makes pretty much the impossible thing possible. 4 century breaks in a row. Absolutely brilliant there from both of the players. And in the end, he is indeed going to make it a wrap with a break of 110. So we've had our breaks of 112, 112, 113, 110. All 4 of them to be made in exactly 4 frames. In the 4 latest frames, which is incredible. I'm not sure if we got that in the last season at all, certainly in the semi-finals, but that was absolutely brilliant. And, very quickly, the frame number 14, I should say, has initiated a guarantee of 16 frames for us to see, as it's now going to be 211 points that Yize does still find himself behind off, but ultimately, and a lot more importantly, he's now only 2 frames behind. He needs another frame, though, until he can really start to ramp up the pressure on Trump and potentially, as Peter said, try and make him work for it a lot harder than what he's had to do so far. Some of his breaks have just been feeding off from the chances, and some of his breaks have been pure brilliance from his point of view as well. What's it going to be this time? We're going to have to find out, but Trump is going to have to be at the top of his game now to try and find a really good break, and then make sure when the chance is going to come to him, which it probably will, for the remainder of the match, he's certainly going to have to try and find at least 2 more frame wins. We need to win 4 frames. Yes, he still needs to win 4 frames in the latest 5, but I tell you what, I think winning 4 of the latest 5 frames sounds a lot better than you having to win 5 out of the last 6. And it's still very much there for him. Trump only 2 games. Yes, that is true, but at the same time, we're going to have to wait and see. I think there is a point where you say Yize is going to be the favourite only and if he gets himself through 3 frames and a bounce, which would get him back to 8 all, but I think there is still going to be plenty of moments of, that will decide the outcome of the match before that point, whether he will be in favour of one or the other player. We're going to have to wait and see, but for now, it is frame 15, which is about to begin, and Yize needs to make sure that we are guaranteed to see 17 frames for now, which of course, is not even going to be enough for him to win this match. He needs to try and take the match all the way to 18 or 19 frames for him to be the winner and be waiting for Xiaotington or Karen Wilson to try and be the first player in Shanghai Masters from China to make it all the way towards the final. For now then, it is Watchalong that is ready to break off. Wu certainly has been lucky lately versus Ali in the World Championship versus Murphy yesterday. I wouldn't say he's been lucky, because I think, especially if you're going to make more than one instance, I think, it was down to Murphy's mistake, and we're not even going to mention about Allen. I mean, that black, you're going to talk about it in years to come, but ultimately it wasn't just down to the black. That black allowed him to go to the decider, and he still had to win that one, but, it wasn't 1 frame shootout. It was 33 frames that they had to play, and I think when you accumulate all of that, I think you genuinely prove to yourself and to everyone else that it's not luck, that it's consistency. As Trump there played a decent break-off shot now, he needs to be putting those long reds into the corner pocket. Let's see if he's able to do that. He's not. He's missed that one by a mile. And, I'll tell you what, I was just about to say he's left an easy chance, which he has. The red, I think, has he? Can Trump get through to that red over the right middle? Because if he can't, I'm not sure he's actually left something easy. But once again, those are the type of shots which are the reason why Trump is still going to be the favourite until the end. Yeah, I think he can just about get through to that red into the right middle. So, once again, allowing Trump not to be working hard at all. And even though he had to use the entire pocket there, but still drops that red in nicely. And I think he's done that for a reason. To be topside on the blue, because he always knew that the cue ball was going to be quite close towards the side cushion. So it was going to be difficult to try and play the shot with too much power. But this is the time where Trump can sort of say, well, you know what, you had a really good frame, fair play to you, but now it's going to be my turn to try and extend the 2-frame lead over to 3 frames and put it down to either you win 4 in a row or I just have to win 1 out of the remaining 4. Luck equals hard work plus opportunity. It depends, but I think in this case about Yize, I think once you've been lucky a couple of times, well, you have to think about it, whether that was just down to luck or it was you being there in the right moment. And I never like when people say that he's been lucky his entire career, because being lucky, I'm not sure which sportsman said that, but I think being lucky in the entire career is a skill, and I agree with that, because you can't say he's been lucky all the time, because that's not how it works. It's not how it works. You can be lucky in some things, but then, in the other things, I'm pretty sure you're right your own luck, and yeah, I don't actually think he's been lucky in this match at all. I think neither of them have been. Maybe a little bit here and there, but I'm pretty sure it's 50-50 in relation to the luck. I'm not going to say that Chom's been lucky. I'm not going to say Yize has been lucky. They didn't really have too many times to be lucky out there, because when they make a mistake, they very frequently leave a chance away to their opponent, as Yize had done there. I think the thing about him is that he's a little bit more aggressive than Chom, which I knew, but I'm still a little bit surprised to be seeing that in action, because I know how aggressive Chomp is, and yeah, I think that might, I'm not saying that's the reason, but it might be one of the reasons why Chomp is in the position where he is. His ability to take that foot off the pedal when the corner comes at him and not try and hit it full throttle. Sometimes I think he's going to be very much helping him out to try and, win the matches over the distance, but, once again, you can't say that I was saying that when Yize was winning the World Championship, so it clearly worked out for him at that point, and there's no reason to change it, just because he's going to potentially, only potentially, lose out one of these matches over to the world number 1, which there's no shame in that at all. And Chom still needs to get around 120 points across those 2 frames, on top of the 31 that he has right now. So then just looking for the black to be taken into the right corner. Plenty of backspin needed here. But once again, the position is brilliant for Chomp. I don't really think he had to go into the back at all for now. I think it's, he just had to work with, what he's had ahead of himself. Chomp is showing why he's the world number 1. Yeah, exactly. And, he just needs to try and make sure he's got that experience. And he's just going to be able to get over the finish line here, which he's approaching. I think he's on the last corner now. And then once he gets to 9 frames, which is, once again, he played a brilliant shot there. Let's see how the cue ball is going to line up. And he will be. Not bad, but, I mean, it is, usually would say it's great positioning, but I think the question that has to be asked is where the next red's coming from, because I feel like Trump managed to use all of his balance in relation to those reds. So where's he going to find the next one from? Yeah, not sure at all. Is he just going to have to go for a shot into the yellow pocket? But it's a little bit weird that he's left himself in this position, I have to say. He's thinking about trying to go for the red along the cushion, which is a risky thing to do, I don't really think that's the way forward for you. He's thinking now about trying to close up the angle and just go for a stretch there for the red into the core. I think that's a lot more sensible. I don't think the way forward for him is to try and touch that red away onto the side cushion, because that's his insurance. If he does make a mistake and Yize comes back to the table, in the end he just tried to separate the reds away from each other. It didn't work out, but he's still going to have 44 points on the board here on the break. And yeah, very unlikely to continue the break from now. So we'll see what's going to happen. I think for now he's probably going to be looking at a chance of, sending the cue ball towards the yellow pocket, or potentially the yellow spot in behind of it and all the way towards the ball cushion. But anyway, it's going to have to be the end of a break. And yeah, you probably have to ask the question why he had to be the end of a break, because it just seemed like he was going along the business, and then, he found himself out of position in the wrong time. And at the same point, he sort of found himself sort of lacking that cutting edge at the end. But of course, it's always better than, going for something very risky and missing out on it. And as I said beforehand, ever since that first frame where he scored 38 points, and it's a bit of a slow pace from the cue ball, and I think that red, which is left over the left corner there, Yize, is going to be available for Trump. So yeah, just was about to say, I think apart from the first frame, and we're now confirmed that it's not going to be a century break here. So the pattern of 4 of those consecutively is going to come to an end. Only 99 available. But yeah, apart from the break that he had in the first frame of 38 points, every single time he scored more than 30, any one of the players, at the start of the frame, I think they were able to win the frame quite comfortably. Apart from the final frame of the first session, frame number 9, which had all sorts of drama. But in the end, this one doesn't have a lot of drama there. It has another mistake from Yize. One safety shot that he's played. Well, that's a little bit naughty, that from Trump. I think he's going to get away with this one, but he sort of played the cue ball into the path of nowhere. Bounced off 2 reds, and yeah, he's luckily for him, he's ended up on the 3rd one into the middle. Not the easiest shot in the world, but still should be the one that he takes on quite nicely, and he has done. Yeah, the thing about Trump is that, I don't know about you, but he just seems so relaxed to me. He seems like he's just going for a practice run, whether it's the first rounds or, you know, he knows that he's going to be now within 1 frame away from reaching the final. And yeah, he's just been going on about his business very, very quickly, very calmly, and doesn't seem to care what's happening with his opponent, you know, because I don't think he's been using the analysis that, you know, he's going to have to try and force him into long reds, because he knows that those chances are going to come for him anyway. And what he needs to do is just to accept that some of the frames he's not going to be able to win, which I don't think is something that Yize is great at. I think he's one of those players who think they have to win everything, and when they don't, that does impact them. But once again, that's purely my point of view. Could be well wrong about that, but Trump just seems like every single time the camera goes onto him in his seat and he's just there thinking about what's he going to do in the next frame, rather than looking at if the chance is going to come. And when the chance does come to him, it seems like, you know, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows where everything is, and now he knows that he's got a frame ball ahead of himself. I think Trump will win frame 15. Well, he certainly will now. He certainly will now, and he's about to take 9-6 of a lead here and get himself with only one more frame to win before he is going to be through to the Shanghai Masters final. Trump is doing the simple things correctly and not overdoing. Yeah, I agree with that. But also, I think his ability to make those things simple is better than Yize. Whether that's just today, but I think his positional play has been absolutely superb. And if you change the face, you could easily say that Zhao Xington or Ronnie O'Sullivan at the table. I don't think we've seen, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, well, across 15 frames maybe we have, but I don't think we've seen more than 5 instances where the frame wasn't won and he made a silly error that has run himself out of position. So, don't know about that. He's run himself out of position there, so it's not going to be, you know, anywhere near a century break, but I don't think there's any point for Yize to be coming back here. It is a break of 35 and 44, which for the first time in this match does win you the frame without the break of 50 or more points. It is Trump that gets himself only 1 frame before he's going to be able to at last my cable to be showing live. Well, 1 frame before he's going to be into the final. And you can see 100 plus breaks. Still, 3 of those have been made by Yize. Only 2 of them have been made by Trump. But still, as I said, I mean, Trump just genuinely seems like he's going to be the stat man, because every single time he gets another frame on the board, he does it while scoring 100 points. And he's now on 114. So as I said, as soon as he gets to 1,000, you know, within a couple of seconds, I would expect him to be the man winning the match altogether. But incredibly, he's still missing out on the average break there, despite showing some great consistency. I think it's just probably the volume of the breaks that he's showing. 58.8 for him, 61.5 for Yize. But ball spotted, you can see, you know, 85 more out there, which is super impressive. And, well, foul points hasn't really changed for a while out there. But, yeah, it's now or never for Yize, and he's going to have to make sure that it will be now for him, because he still has got plenty of opportunities to try and make this one a little bit closer than the match has gone so far. But you just feel like, you know, it probably got away from him slightly in the second session, but even in the first one, you probably have to say Trump deserves to be where he is, and Yize probably deserves to be where he is. I think if he wins another frame, he can be happy with his performance, because once again, he's been up against the very best. I don't think we've seen that form of Trump in the semi-finals across the previous season. I think it's one of the best performances of the last 12 months for him. I think he had a brilliant win against Robertson in the Tour Championship by something like 10-4 or something like that. Then his performance in the final against Murphy. But you feel like both Murphy and Robertson struggled massively. Robertson couldn't put a ball together. I'm pretty sure he was celebrating, like jokingly celebrating when he won a frame, as if he won the Masters or something. And Murphy was playing completely crap, to be honest with you, in comparison to what he was in the German Masters. He was the favourite before heading into that match, but as soon as he was just the new Xi'an Grand Prix, where he just couldn't keep up with the pace of Williams. And yeah, I think for the last 12 months, probably the best performance that we've seen of Judd, especially when he comes down to the semi-final. Certainly the best performance in the semis that we've seen of him. You know, that Robertson thing is going to be close, but I think he's been up against an opponent that's played well, as Yize are now about to get the 17th frame underway and get the cue ball to be running towards the left part of the table. But yeah, ultimately I think, you know, he can be very 16th frame shot, sorry, not 17th. He's going to have to try and work harder to get that 17th frame available, because now every single chance that he leaves out to Trump could well be the last shot that he has played. And well, talking about that, is he going to go for this red? Of course he will. He's Judd Trump and he's playing well, but he's not going to be lucky on this occasion. He got a minor flick of the second red there. Whether that was intentional, he was just trying to make it around the black there, but I think that's going to be very much the reason why he's going to have to go for a safety shot now. How much will the winner get? As I think this is not a ranking tournament. No, it is not. But the winner will get 210,000 of pounds. Around $250,000, a little bit more, which is not bad. 275, I think it would be in dollars, which is not bad at all for the first tournament. But you know, it does feature the best of the best, and you know, it's very difficult for you to win that. But Trump had a very, very good start to this tournament, and you know, it doesn't seem like the middle point is going to be any worse for him, because you think about the match that he had against Hawkins. I would probably say, and I'm not going to take anything away from Barry, I think Barry played well, and I think he's played better than any one of the opponents. I think he's played better than Yize, I have to say. I've only watched highlights, so I can't say for sure, but I'll tell you what, Trump is thinking about going for the pink. He's not even considering the other option. Well, the gap is there. The frame gap is there too, and the pink is going to be in the pocket. Look at that for a shot. Once, where he was super unlucky not to be on the colour, he still said, well, you know what, I'm 9-6 clear, I've got the chance, I'm going to go for it, and if I miss it, then the pink is probably likely to stay over the pocket and he will be a re-rack. Well, listen, he certainly didn't think about that one too much. He's played the pink perfectly into the pocket, and now he's got another chance to try and run away with this one. And of course, this is going to be the final time that's going to happen. But yeah, exactly as I expected, I have to say. And this is what I was really looking forward to, because I thought when you expect something, usually the other thing happens. And I thought maybe Trump is going to have a bit of the off day and Wu is going to play well. But he probably just played the other way there. I think Wu's been probably a little bit average. I wouldn't say he's been bad. I wouldn't say he's been certainly not been great. I just think moments of brilliance, absolutely. Moments of madness, not really. I think he's been reasonable. I think we've seen plenty of moments of madness against Murphy yesterday. I don't think we've seen many of those today. And yeah, I just think it's going to be all down to, you know, Trump playing super well. And when Trump is playing well, you're going to have to call Selby of 17, Ronnie of 2013, or I don't know, Robertson of 2014, to try and do something with him, because right now, Yize probably just didn't play good enough. Invitational non-ranking tournaments have actually more prize money. Yes, Sonic, I think that is true. 210k for a winner is very good money for a non-ranking. Yeah, I think Sonic makes a good point. I think non-ranking tournaments usually have more prize money. Because, I mean, think about the invitational tournaments that we have. The Masters is 350k, which is a lot. Then we've got the Shanghai Masters. Then we've got the Champion of Champions, which I'm pretty sure is 175k, something like that. They're all a lot better than the likes of the British Open, the German Masters, the World Grand Prix, the Home Nation Series, the Xi'an Grand Prix. So yeah, I think we don't really have too many of those invitational events right now. I think, because I can only think about 3. The Shanghai, the Champion of Champions, the Masters. Have we got another one? I don't think we do. Yeah, nowadays we don't really have too many of those invitational ones, which, you could say it's a shame, but I think that's down to WST. Golden Ball tournament in Saudi has mad prize money. Yeah, but he had. I never really felt the hype there. I mean, I think it's one of those things where, you say, if you're going to make 100 jumps in 1 second, then we'll give you $100,000. Well, you're not going to make 100 jumps in 1 second, are you? And I just think the fact that you've made so many maximums. Yeah, but we've had like 20 maximums in a season, which is what I can only guess how many frames that's going to be. And you genuinely ask the best players against the best players, not only to be thinking about 250k for winning the tournament, which is still mad money when you think about just how short that tournament is, but you also think about going for a 147 plus having to leave an extra edge on the black, so you have to go around the table and go for that golden ball. I mean, I know the reason why they're going to be unhappy with it, but I'm so glad the golden ball is not going to be returning. I just think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to snooker, and we all know why it's happened to snooker, because Saudi have got more money than the likes of English Open or, I don't know, the British Open or German Masters. And the only reason why the players are all so excited about it and saying that's a new change, well, it's because they know that, first of all, they're going to be the ones competing for 250k worth of prize money for the winner, but also if they make that brilliant break, then it will be down to, a brilliant $1 million for them to receive. And of course, the prize money in 250k is in pounds, so that's going to be something like 330k in dollars, which is incredible actually for a tournament that small. But anyway, coming back to this frame, the reason why I started going on about it was because the referee will start trying to respot the pink right in between those reds now. That was a long while ago, and now Trump has got probably the final red here. And maybe he's got one more to be taken into the left middle, but I think he is going to have to try. Well, I was just about to say try and go into the back here, but I think he's landed about as straight as he could have on the blue. And he's now thinking about doing something that he was thinking about in the previous frame. Just leaving that cue ball a little bit wide. And, whether he did think about leaving the cue ball wide or not, he didn't play it like that. And now, looking at his body language, can he see through that red and get himself for the black there? Because if he can, he gets himself another red. And then, on top of the one that he just spotted there, so he clearly could get through to it, which is great news for him. Now then, 32 points clear. Once again, the black will take him 39 points ahead of Yize and allow him to push the cue ball through the red, get himself lines up on the left side cushion, and get himself through to a shot on the red now to be taken into the right corner. So the 39 points of a lead that he has, and as I say, I think he's genuinely going to be looking more and more likely that as soon as he gets to 1,000 points, he's going to be getting himself through to a win here, which, 1,000 points is actually not that much, for 16 frames. I'd probably say that's quite low, but I think it probably tells you that it has been very much one of those matches where either you win the frame comfortably or I win the frame comfortably because of how few frames there were in between. But this is now a key shot. He's played that with so much power, but I don't think he got the red that he was playing for. And if he has, he didn't justify that one well enough. He's had a break of 44 in the previous frame, and it does look like he's going to have to stop on the break of 45 this time around. Missed the replay there. They should have shown that in a little bit of a slow motion, but I just think he got the wrong part of the red. I think he brushed off the higher red where he should have gone for the one into the middle, which would have actually tried to sort of separate it from the core rather than just trying to brush it off on the head, which is always just going to send one of those reds with great pace away from the bunch. But, the core of the bunch is still going to be where it is, which is exactly what happened. He got the edges to be brushed off with 4 of the reds to go away, but the other 4 are still going to be very much surrounding the pink. And I think that's mainly the reason why not only the reds have not actually gone where they should have gone, but also the cue ball has ended up absolutely nowhere. So then, that's a interesting short selection there from Trump in terms of the power. But I think he's going to be able to get away with this one because I thought the red was going to finish over the left middle, but he's gone far enough for it not to be in a dangerous place. So then, the decision time here for Yize. Does he have one more reckless, didn't mean to say reckless, aggressive shot in him? Or is he going to be all down to a chance to be waiting for? I'm not really sure if he can wait for another chance here because, I mean, the way he's thinking about it, it's going to be a very risky shot of a safety that he's taking on. Because one thing that you have to give credit to Chum for, I mean, he's playing that previous shot to perfection. Look at how well the cue ball is in relation, how close it is to the black ball cushion. He's got two reds, one on the left side, one on the right, to play a safety out of, but where's he going to be able to pot the cue ball? And he can't send it to the top edge of the table because there's going to be a red over the left corner unless he plays that shot very specifically. So then, once again, just looking at this position, I mean, rolling up to the reds probably would have been a nice idea had the black not been there, so it's not an easy thing. Wu can't afford risky shots as it could be his last. Well, yeah, but I mean, you may as well just go out trying. He's 45 points behind. He needs to win 4 frames on the bounce. I mean, I think we're getting to the realistic page where he's not going to win this match at this stage, but he's still going to have a chance to win this match if he comes back at this frame. And for him to come back in this frame, he's going to have to do something aggressive here. And for him to do something aggressive, well, he clearly feels like he's going to have to try and get that cue ball into a safe place. Well, I'm predicting before he's played that shot, as he now refused it. Well, has he refused it? Or has he just tried to roll up the cue ball towards the reds here? I think he has. Well, I mean, if that opportunity was there, I wonder why he hasn't done it first time. I thought the black was going to be getting in the way. Yeah, of course you should be doing that. As I said, you know, if you can roll up to the reds, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. But I just thought the black was preventing him from doing that, and I don't really understand what was the 2 minutes thinking about it. Okay, apparently, because the referee was in the way, couldn't tell a difference. You know, he has made a foul. He has underrun for the Reds, and didn't see them change the scoreboard either. So I reckon the guy on the scoreboard didn't see that thing either because of the referee standing in the way. So then attempt number 2 doesn't really matter. He's got 91 points ahead of him. You know, just because he gave 4 foul points away. But of course, he can't do it second time, because on the third time, he's going to have to hit it. And let's see, what's he done here then? And I think he's done a shot pretty well here. I think he's played that one nicely, so there's 4 points given away. But in hindsight, it was probably a better thing to do. Because now, Chomp is probably going to have to use that red on the right side cushion to get that cue ball back towards the black ball cushion here. Ooh, that's a bad shot from Chomp. I don't know what happened there. It's a horrible shot from Chomp. I mean, I sound like he's given away a sitter, but he may as well have. I mean, for how simple the safety was, he got the cue ball nowhere near the black ball cushion. And now there is a chance. It will be his last one if he misses it, but there is a chance. And he will be his last one, it would seem, unless he's going to fluke it. No, he won't. Yep, the blue was in the way. Well, you're not going to get a better chance than that. Sorry, but that's the harsh reality of snooker these days. That was a gift from Chomp, and he has refused it. And Chomp is going to say, well, you know what, you refused it. I'm not going to give you the second one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gift and walk away with a final in the pocket, because he has left him a position which is not quite going to be wide open, but that's probably going to be to the advantage of Chomp, because he only needs 2 more reds. And I think at that stage, he will be game over for him, as he's now 50 points. Sorry, I don't know why Yize is. Sorry, hope I wasn't confusing anyone. I was saying that Yize has made a mistake, and Chomp is back at the table for surely his last visit to the table in the entire match here. Because, well, I mean, it wasn't an easy shot, but it wasn't a difficult one, let's be honest. And if he was to choose between easy or difficult, I would say it was easy, because it's the one that you would expect him to take. And whether it was down to pressure, whether it was down to thinking about the position too much, or whatever it was, it is now going to be all down to Chomp, and play that red onto the left corner. You know, whether he's going to have to try and disrupt those 4 reds next to the pink or not, or he's going to be able to sort of establish himself with 2 more reds to be taken. For now, taking that red away nicely. He played that one a little bit too thin, which has complicated the positional shot there. So he's clattered into the blue. I don't know, actually, he's got 4 colours, but I think there might be a room where there might be a world where all 4 of them are getting in the way of each other. I think he's going for the blue anyway. I'm just wondering how much pace is he going to have to put this one. The answer is a lot. Doesn't want the jaw. And it's not too great, but it's not too bad for him, as he now gets himself 60 points clear with 75 at the table. If Zhao wins his match, you think will win between Chomp and Zhao? Well, I think we've seen that, unfortunately. And I think last season, as now Chomp just goes for probably the deciding shot now. He made this one in, easy on the black he is. I think it's an interesting one because I remember saying, well, Trump's played so well against Robertson in the semi-final at the Tour Championship. Wow, he's going to play Zhao Xington. I'm so excited. And then expectation versus reality, I think that was the worst final of the season. I think the Xi'an Grand Prix was probably worse, but there wasn't a lot of excitement about it because Williams wasn't playing well and everyone expected Murphy to be absolutely obliterating him. As now Trump gets the frame all in, so that's going to be frame and match over to Judd Trump. And yeah, I did say 10-7, so 10-6 is not too bad. It's not spot on, but yeah, I felt like that was a little bit underachieved there from Yize because, you know, after the start of the second session, you know, he has lost a lot of those frames. He's lost 5 of them, and he's only been able to win 2. So lost first session 5-4, lost the second session 5-2, I should say. So not been great, but not been horrible. And so yeah, I would probably be limiting my excitement about the match in between Trump and Zhao Xington, but still be excited. But I'm just like, that Tour Championship was just so horrible from Trump in the final. For how well he was playing against Robertson, how badly he's played against Zhao Xington. Certainly his worst final of the season, but yeah, the only one where he didn't really challenge the opponent because he was quite close to Selby in the UK. He got quite far away from him in the Champion of Champions, and he was obviously having a decider with Lisowski. Look at that brilliant long raid, as I was just about to think that he was going to be all down to the end of a break there. He's still entertaining the fans, and he might just be ending up with a break of 50 plus to end the match here. As he now overrun slightly for the red, but still going to be able to pop that one away. My choice is Trump, as seen from yesterday and today's performance. Yeah, but I would say, listen, that was very much what we were seeing from Robertson match in the semis. I can't remember who he was against in the quarter. Yeah, he was against Allen, isn't he? In the quarterfinals, and Murphy. Had a really good run, by the way, to that Tour Championship final, as that's now going to be the end. A break of 50 points exactly, wins Judd Trump the match, and it is going to be 10-6 of a win. Wu is waiting for Zhao. Well, now it was all down to the show from the Judd Trump, from the world number 1, and he's certainly going to make another final in the last 12 months. It's now going to be the 6th one that he's going to be participating at. The problem is, he's only managed to win 1 of them, both on the ranking events and both on the invitation events as well. Whether he's going to be able to win this one or not, we're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, very quickly on this performance, I think you have to give credit to Yize. He's played his part, but he did have the signs of 2 semi-finals of last season. Karen Wilson against Zhao Xington completely annihilated him in the second session, and that's exactly what happened with Yize today. Trump was strong, Yize wasn't bad, but Trump managed to pick up the pace and be a lot stronger in the second session there. And then also the second semi-final, which was actually featuring Yize, was his performance against Zhao Xington. Again, I feel like I'm bullying Zhao Xington a little bit, but he was absolutely outplaying him in that international championship, and that's exactly what happened with Judd Trump today. Just way too strong. Now Trump is going to be waiting for either Karen Wilson to make it 10 years without a Chinese player in the final. Well, I'll tell you what, surely Zhao Xington is going to be able to be the player that is capable of stopping Karen Wilson. For now, all the favourites and all the top seeds have been going through. Let's see if that's going to be the case tomorrow as well. But for now, it is Judd Trump's night for celebrations before he gets himself 24 hours worth of rest and gets himself into a nice little shape before the final and waits over for his opponent. Thank you very much for everyone watching. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel on your way out. We'll see you for 4 more sessions of the action in the Shanghai Masters, 2 more sessions for the semi-finals, and then the most anticipated part of it is going to be all down to the final in between Judd Trump and the winner of the pair, in between Karen Wilson and Zhao Xington. Stay tuned in. The Shanghai Masters so far has certainly delivered the brilliant performances, and hopefully it won't stop until the end of the Sunday evening here in China. Thank you again for watching, and speak to you soon.